it's Michelle, and welcome back to the Royal Daily Tea. We have a lot of juicy tea to cover today, so we're just going to go ahead and dive right in, but you know what to do. Grab yourself a beverage and let's get into the Royal Daily Tea. So Sarah Ferguson, as we've mentioned in a previous video, is starting her promotional tour for her upcoming novel, A Most Intriguing Lady. It has just come out that Sarah is going to appear with Kelly Clarkson next week on March 2nd to promote her book. Now this is going to be a very interesting pairing to have the Duchess of York with Kelly Clarkson, and then on March 6th she's going to New York City to appear on another show to also promote her book. Now in her promotional PR release, they did say that she would be open to discussing Harry and Meghan, as well as her relationship with the Queen. Now, some people find this to be an extremely tacky thing to do. She's constantly aligning herself with the Sussexes, and it's turning into a little bit of a cheap money grab. But let's be honest here, she has to sell some books. So her novel, A Most Intriguing Lady, is set to be released on March 7th, a full 2 months after Prince Harry's release of his book, Spare. So it's going to be very interesting to see if she's going to be spilling some real royal tea over on the Kelly Clarkson show. So we have some more information about the gentleman who is joining Prince Harry on his pay-per-view event, where you can support a prince for just $33, y'all, just $33. Now his name is Dr. Gabor Mate, who is a trauma expert, and he's a little bit of a controversial doctor, as he is the type of person who likes to use these spiritual psychedelic drugs that have been outlawed in the UK, in the United States, and Canada. They are the same type of psychedelic drugs that we know a certain Ginger Windsor likes to partake in. They're hallucinogens, and a lot of people in other countries, specifically shamans, they like to use this type of medicinal spiritual drugs that give people these visions, and people start seeing people and demons in outer realms. It's very controversial, but it's very popular in the hippy dippy communes of the spiritual realm. Those types of people, they go to these countries, a lot of tourists, they'll go to these countries and they go to these woke retreats where they'll do a lot of spiritualism, and they smoke these drugs, these mushrooms that give them hallucinations, and some people freak out. Some people have a wonderful experience, but a lot of people, it's a very scary and dangerous situation to be in. And this is something that Harry had talked about in his memoir, Spare, of partaking in alternative methods of treating his mental trauma. Now, this gentleman has over 20 years of experience working with people suffering from addiction and mental illness, and his specialisms are in stress and childhood development. Now, the 79-year-old is someone who wants to talk about living with loss and the importance of personal healing. That's going to be followed by a questionnaire. So apparently you can ask him as well as Harry questions about their practices. Now, this gentleman has a very interesting past. He grew up in Budapest. His family, unfortunately, were victims of Auschwitz. When he was only 5 months old, he was separated from his mother as a baby to save his life, while his father was subjected to forced labor by the Nazis. So he definitely has a lot of trauma that stems from his childhood. Now, he says the trauma that he suffered as a child continued to affect his adult life, leading to an intense emotional reaction when he perceives a threat of abandonment, especially from his wife. So here we have Prince Harry, who talks about his trauma of losing his mother and being the spare, being in the shadow of his brother who's the future king. And then we have this gentleman who has 20 years experience helping people with mental illness and addiction, but who also suffers from his own personal trauma. So it's going to be very interesting to have these two people on a talk together and how they share the same belief in these psychedelic hallucinogen drugs. that's very controversial and illegal to use in 3 countries. So we definitely know this is something that is up Harry's alley. Now, I am kind of considering buying a ticket to this pay-per-view event, not because I want to support Prince Harry and Megxie and their 16 bathrooms, but I'm kind of interested to see what is going to happen, what the discussion is going to be, and of course the questions. But I think we all know they're going to be very softball, hand-picked questions. It's probably going to be extremely boring, although Dr. Mate sounds interesting. He sounds like a gentleman who has a lot of experience and can provide some really good information, but it's interesting how they both are into those psychedelic drugs. So we'll see what happens, but I thought it'd be interesting for me to let you know a little bit about the man who has been selected to sit with Harry. Now, I don't know if Harry is the person who chose him. They both have books out, and they are both with Penguin Random House, so it's definitely a money grab. Again, they're forcing you to buy Harry's book for the $33. You don't have a choice. But this gentleman, you can opt in to purchase his book, and I think it's only like $60. That his you can do as an add-on, but they're forcing you to buy Harry's book. Definitely trying to, get rid of those copies that are somehow in a warehouse collecting dust. I'll keep you posted if I decide to purchase a ticket because I know time is running out for that event. So Meghan Markle has made her very first appearance since Prince Harry's book Spare has hit the bookshelves in January, and of course the popular South Park episode of the Worldwide Privacy Tour starring Harry and Meghan. Now, if you remember, Meghan back in 2020 was talking about this new tea and latte company that she was now an investor in, and where she famously gifted it to Oprah Winfrey, and Oprah Winfrey did a little message on social media. Well, the owner of this company called Clever, the founder Hannah Mendoza, shared a very intimate Instagram reel featuring the Duchess herself, talking about how Meghan became the very first investor for this small woman-owned company, and it's pretty much thanks to Meghan Markle for the company becoming the success that it is. Now, Meghan is seen starring alongside the founder in an Instagram reel where they're showing her looking behind the scenes, watching the lattes being made. Now, according to this lady who started the company, she said they started the company back in 2016. They were very struggling, and then all of a sudden, everything changed from an instant after Meghan Markle started to support her brand and took her company to the next level. Now, I think it's great that Meghan Markle came out and endorsed a small brand, and I think congratulations to this woman. I think there's nothing wrong with this company. Congratulations and much more success to them. I think it's great. Women uplifting women, celebrities supporting small brands, influencers helping people, because that is something we all should be doing. The problem I have with this is it's 3 years too late for me. You can tell me Meghan Markle cured cancer and I still would say she's a bad person. The reason is you can't spend 3 years being Ursula and the Wicked Witch of the West and then Ariel in the same breath. It's 3 years too late for me to say, Meghan Markle, you're a superhero. You help women. You help the little guy. You're such a good person by uplifting this brand. Let's not forget this brand is a moneymaker for Meghan. She's making money off of this deal. She's not doing this out of the goodness of her heart, guys. She's making money. Okay, this is a deal for Meghan. Now, I think it's great that this company has exploded. They did over $6 million in sales. It's not a cheap coffee. It's a very organic coffee where they ethically source their product, and good for her that all the celebrities love it because they're probably the only ones who can actually afford it. So I think if Meghan Markle would have come out the gate 3 years ago and just launched the Teague, became kind of the Gwyneth Paltrow of the royal world, she would have been super successful. And honestly, I might have liked her. Really, she had some good taste. She's had some good fashion in the past. I'm not going to say she's never looked good because that's not true. I've enjoyed quite a few products that she's had, and I didn't think her blog was bad. Not any worse than anyone that's out there. But the problem is Meghan exposed her true self to people, and I just can't shake it. So no matter how many kittens she saves from burning buildings, no matter how many women she uploads with positive endorsements, it just gets overshadowed from her 3 years of being not a nice person. I mean, look what she's done to her father. She's literally ditched the man who she previously is credited with providing her with an amazing life, for doing everything for her, for sacrificing to make sure Meghan had the best life possible, paid for her college education, did everything. And the minute she didn't need him, she's like, hit the road, Jack. This is where you get off. I don't need you anymore. You're an embarrassment to me. You're a lowlife. You live in Mexico. You're not quite fitting the Duchess look. Sorry, Pops. You gotta go. And then she ushers in Doria, the shiny black mama, who's going to fit into that race woke look, that label that she's trying to get under. Right? So she dusts off Doria, who hadn't been around for a decade, and Doria just takes all the credit. I'm the super mom. Look at me, everybody. People at the school didn't even know who she was. She had never been to the high school. The father used to take her there. He worked on all her school productions, but never mind. We're just going to pretend Doria's the super mom, and she's black, y'all. That's such an awesome thing to have a woke couple here. I mean, let's just bring in the super black mama and have her take all the credit for the white papa who did everything. We're just going to push him aside because he's not fitting the narrative of the woman of color. Now, is he? Nope, he's not. So I have a hard time with accepting Meghan Markle as the sweet, innocent Ariel Disney Princess Julia Roberts wannabe that she's now trying to reinvent herself to be. You can't be Ursula and the Wicked Witch for 3 years and then say, but I'm Ariel. I'm Ariel. Love me. Like me. I'm Julia Roberts. It's like she's trying to become America's sweetheart now. But it's not going to work. It's too late. The problem is that your reputation preceded you before you even got to the palace, sis. You already had all this negativity you brought with you in a suitcase. And most of it came from your own family. That's pretty bad. That is pretty bad. Kate dated William for 8 years. She was a normal citizen. She was a normal girl. For 8 years, nothing negative was reported. You didn't have any ex-friends, ex-boyfriends, ex-classmates, family members, nada. And that press, guys, they were turning over stones. They were snooping through people's trash. They were trying to find dirt. Okay? For 8 years, they found nothing. She has been part of the royal family as a duchess and now a princess since 2011. We're talking 12 years and nada. So for 20 years, she has been in the public eye. The public eye. And you don't hear any disgruntled employees, friends, ex-boyfriends, co-workers, nothing. That's a long time. So she has had the narrative of being a pretty nice person for 20 years. Meghan Markle has only been married to Prince Harry since May of 2018, so roughly 5 years. And she was with him for what, a year and a half, maybe 2? So we're talking 7 years in the public eye on a grand scale. And she has had a major reputation problem that preceded her before the palace. People talked about when she was an actress on Suits, when she got a deal to model for some Canadian fashion line, that she did a commercial. I believe this is something that Tom Bauer reported in his book Revenge. People said she was the worst person they had ever worked with. And this story, guys, was out before she was married. They had ex-friends that came out. Her own family members were talking about her. She has had negative press all before she got married. Up until the week of her marriage, where her father, they had that huge drama, and her brother was like, don't do it, Harry, don't do it. I mean, it's embarrassing, but the problem is Meghan and Harry blame the British press for all the negativity. But it's like, no, sis, they didn't even know about you. They didn't even know about you until you got the ring on your freaking finger. No one paid attention to you until that point, let's be real. And you already had your own baggage. You handed it to them like Christmas dinner with a bow on it. They didn't have to make up any stories. They didn't have to dig. Honey, it was an all-you-can-eat buffet. They were full. Okay, they were having people, oh, you want to hear about Meghan, picking up the phone. All these stories of photographers who worked with her, ex-classmate. Rumors were coming out of the wood mill, okay? The British press just did their job. They reported on it. Now, were there a couple of a-holes? Yes. Was there some racist undertones from a very small group of people? Yes. Is that right to do? No. But let's be honest here. The tabloids have since, they ripped Kate, calling her anorexic. They always say Kate's anorexic. They have the cheating rumors. They try to say her and Camilla are fighting for attention. There's always drama. There's always tabloids. It's always been there. But Meghan takes no responsibility for the fact she had a horrible reputation all on her own. That's her own doing. She ghosted people. She's used people to move up the ladder, trying to find herself a rich British husband. Liz Gundy, Piers Morgan. She's made enemies every single where she's gone. She has ex-business managers. I believe it was the UN Women Organization. She had some scandal with them. She has done this all on her own, but yet she blames the British press for what? Reporting on true stuff that happened? I mean, like I said, you look at Kate, 20 years in the press. You look at Meghan, barely 6-7 years, and it just keeps coming and it keeps coming. And most of the stories come from Harry and Meghan themselves. Their actions, their books, their docuseries, their lies, their lawsuits. You can't blame the press or people for talking about things that you do and say and calling you out on your lies. You can't blame people for doing that. It's called criticism. It's not making up stories. But again, they blamed everything on the British press. So now Meghan has disappeared from public view because she's distancing herself from Howie, little Howie, who's ruining her life and reputation. Now they're coming out with these positive puff pieces about Meghan, the super entrepreneur, woman empowerment, support small business, y'all. Look at Meghan Markle. She's a superhero. And yes, it's wonderful what she did for this company. Congratulations to that brand. No hate. But at the end of the day, it's 3 years too late. You've been Ursula and Cruella de Vil, and now you're trying to be Ariel and Julia Roberts and a Disney princess. It doesn't work. You're either one or the other, sweetheart. You can't change your narrative. People aren't buying it. If she would have done this from the very beginning, I think she could have been super popular and super successful. And now we have people on Google saying sick of the, and they literally pop up in almost every country. They're ranking lower than Prince Andrew. So I think she's going to have a very hard time reclaiming herself as America's sweetheart, the Duchess, because people are just not buying the Kool-Aid, sweetheart. They're not drinking it. They're just not buying that you're sweet and that you're nice and you're kind because you're not showing the kindness even to your own father. If Meghan would have made up with her own father, and not been on this year of visibility where they're literally trashing and monetizing the royal family, people would have saw them differently. But unfortunately for Meghan and Harry, they chose the victim mentality, the woke brigade, and they thought, we're going to slam the family and make millions of dollars, and our life is going to be awesome. Unfortunately, I don't think it's panning out for them when Harry is having to do a pay-per-view event and forcing people to buy his book along with a ticket when his book is showing up in Marshall's. And I had a person leave a comment on my YouTube video saying they went to a charity shop in the UK and they literally saw a copy of Spare. So that is telling you guys that literally, 2 months after his book came out, it's already in a charity shop. that tells me it is not a bestseller, guys. It is not a bestseller. But that is all the news I have for you guys today. What do you think of these stories? What do you think of Fergie appearing on the Kelly Clarkson show and monetizing her relationship with the Sussexes and the Queen to sell copies of her upcoming novel? What do you think about the gentleman who is joining Prince Harry on his pay-per-view event? And what do you think about Meghan Markle and her collaboration with that new coffee brand? Do you think she's trying to become the next Julia Roberts and trying to save face with her reputation? Leave me your comments, guys, down below. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you. And make sure you pop over to my other YouTube channel, Royal Daily Tea History and Fashion, and check out my latest series, Karina and the King. Episode 2 will be dropping this weekend. Thank you for being here, and I will see you on the next video. Bye, guys.